Can you really just flip a switch and get a mortgage? Stick around today and you'll find out.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Jay and Brian Show. I'm Brian.
I'm Jay.
And today we're talking about mortgage myths. There's a lot of them out there. Today we're going to be giving you our 5 favorite myths.
The most applicable.
The most applicable.
Yes.
I like that. That's outstanding, Jay. Yeah. Right. So let's just jump right into it. Myth number 1, the big online mortgage company is going to save you time and money by just having you flip a switch and then jump in your pool and enjoy a cocktail while the whole process takes place.
That's right. It's just going to happen on its own, and
just no problems, no worries.
Nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to come up, and they won't ask you for anything.
And the computer knows what you need.
That's right.
So the savings are just going to
and you don't really need to talk to anybody because the computer is just going to be the one that's going to take care of it all automatically.
Of course, because computers can do everything.
Really, if it was going to be any easier, you could just drive through, just go through the drive-through, get your mortgage, be done. It doesn't work like that.
Drive-through mortgage.
The drive-through. Can you imagine that?
No.
But truth be told, it's still somewhat of a complicated process.
Yeah, it is.
So, I think the big online lenders, it's really difficult to maintain that level of service. And I think it ultimately just kind of leaves people with unanswered questions, and you just never know where you left off. And there's really nobody there on the other end to answer your questions or figure out where things are at. So,
yeah, I mean, a lot of times working with a computer can lead to confusion. It can lead to a rougher customer service experience. A mortgage, like you just said, it was complicated, right? So there's lots of questions that come up during the process, and there's no such thing as a bad question. I always tell my customers. But who are you gonna reach out to?
That's right.
In those cases, they give you an 800 number, Jay, so you can call an 800 and get somebody.
Give them a loan number, give them your barcode, and that's, I guess, the experience that we're going to get.
I'm going to take us back to the last episode real quick when we talked about how you have certain experiences with large organizations, online or big banks, where you have to get to 5 people before they even understand what your needs are. And an 800 number person is not going to know your loan file. So
that's right. So is it really going to save you time and money to go with these big online companies that really can't support what you're looking for?
Yeah.
If you're really looking for a connection, I think that's where we come in. So
absolutely.
Yeah,
cool. What's myth number 2?
Number 2, renting is cheaper than buying, or perhaps I just can't afford to buy a house.
Yes, we hear that a couple different ways.
Yeah. It's just a crazy time. So
and we do a lot of research on this topic in the housing market, and we caught some.
Things are getting expensive.
Very expensive.
Yeah, things are very expensive.
Yeah, according to apartmentslist.com and a couple of others out there.
Yeah.
Rents in Phoenix are rising very quickly right now, definitely outstripping what the equivalent mortgage would be on the home.
Yeah. So get this. So I did a little bit of research. This is current stuff. This is Gilbert, Arizona. So how do you feel about a 2-bedroom apartment with about 1,000 square feet? How about $1,500 a month?
Jeez.
Okay, and it probably starts there because there's fees and there's associations and things like that. But $1,500
some utilities
to start, right? Yeah, so something else is going to be on top of that $1,500.
Yep.
Or how about 3 bedrooms, 1,300 square feet? Again, Gilbert, Arizona. How about $1,900 a month?
Wow.
Does that not blow you away? And that's where we're at.
I'm sorry, that's where we're at. Surprise.
Yeah, that's where we're at. So.
Yeah, you can buy a nice home with a $1,900 a month mortgage payment.
And what's the benefit to buying?
I mean, to me, there's all kinds of benefits. I mean, you have the pride of home ownership. So you have a house that you can make your own, that you can design it the way you need it to be. You can grow into it. Stability for your family, keeping your family in one place.
You can paint the walls.
Yeah.
Hang pictures.
Yeah. And another interesting factoid that kind of goes along with this myth is we've done a lot of math on this, and even when you factor in all of the costs of owning a home, so replacing roofs and doing remodels and replacing water heaters and broken toilets and whatever else comes up with owning a home, when you add to that the equity factor, so your home value is going like this as you own it, and you're paying your loan off. I'm trying not to hit the microphone here.
Yeah.
I just did. And your loan balance is going like this over time. There's from a wealth management standpoint, it doesn't compare. Renting doesn't compare to owning a home over time. So I always tell my clients, like they're young clients. As many young people as I can tell, buy a home as early as you possibly can.
Oh, I couldn't agree with that more.
Yeah.
Buy early on, buy what you can afford,
Absolutely.
and buy the biggest house you can possibly buy. Because you're probably going to grow into it.
But I like the point, you affordability, right? So, I mean, buy something you can afford. And if it's your first home, it doesn't have to be the dream home. It just get started in real estate, in property ownership, and you're going to benefit so much over time.
And it really is an investment. Yeah, it's an investment. And that's, I think to really make your point, in order to build wealth, you have to be willing to make an investment. And I think when you buy your house or you buy your first home, it really is like it's your investment, your first investment yourself.
Absolutely.
Because you can, you've got this equity that's going to be building over time.
It is an investment in yourself and your future family. And I love that.
Yeah, and it's difficult to see that, early on, maybe as you're just getting started, and it's difficult. You're just like, man, can I really? I just need to know I can afford this. Can I make this payment? And
and I mean, we live in the Phoenix area is huge. There's lots of employment opportunities. There's every reason to choose Phoenix to plant and get that real estate portfolio.
There's a lot more coming too. A lot of employers coming, jobs are coming.
It's fantastic.
Good place to be.
So myth number 3. This is a good one. This is a big one. The lowest interest rate is the best option when deciding on a lender.
Oh my!
I mean, you see it all day long on all of the TV commercials and all of the radio ads. They lead you to believe that's
rate is important.
It is.
Rate is important.
It is.
But is it the be all end all, part of the experience that really means everything in it?
Yeah.
And I think, though I know that the rate is important, I don't think it's everything.
It isn't everything. The visual that I always have is it's like hiring somebody to do a remodeling job or build a wall or do something like this. And they give you this great low rate and you go perfect, and then they fall down on themselves on the job and they do a terrible job.
Yeah, years ago. So we had pavers installed on the side of our house. It's kind of crazy, but we had our pool put in, and we just went with the guy that was recommended by the pool builder to put some pavers in for us. And oh my gosh, if you could see these pavers now, the price was right 10 years ago, but the job we got was horrible. The base layer that they're supposed to install underneath the sand when you do pavers doesn't exist. It's not there. It's not there. So
you got
so it's just basically the pavers on top of maybe an inch of sand or something like that, and then
so it's an adventure just to walk down.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a roller coaster on the side of my house. But it just goes to show, you don't want to hire the cheapest guy to do the job, or the guy that's inexperienced.
Yeah,
to do
it's
the
understandable to focus on that, but I would argue at the end of the day that it really isn't the most important thing. What's most important to most borrowers is getting the deal done, getting it done on time, being given a fair estimate up front, and then another big thing that kind of pops up that we see a lot when we hear from people who've worked with online lenders and the big banks, but mostly online lenders, is that when a challenge pops up, so an underwriting challenge, maybe it's a credit challenge, an income challenge, oops, we didn't calculate your income correctly up front.
Yep.
The LO goes away. They drop you. They
just disappear.
The communication goes away. They're not responsive anymore, and then the whole customer experience kind of just that's really when you need the professional, is when a problem or a challenge arises. Yeah. And sometimes this does happen. Maybe an appraisal comes in low. Yeah.
Now you've got to reach out to somebody, and you need to count on who you're working with. And
or there's some crazy rare repair requirement that comes up that the LO is not properly communicating back to the agents on about what needs to be done and what how helping guide them through sort of maybe a renegotiation of of the Binzer, I guess.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
it's
It happens all the time.
Yep.
But yeah.
Yeah.
That's the last thing you want to have happen is you're in the middle of the process and the loan officer vanishes. And so,
Yep.
you know, it's one of those situations that is could be extremely frustrating if you get into that. So
for sure.
yeah.
Number 4 is my personal favorite.
Okay, so the quote you get from a mortgage lender is accurate and reliable.
I love this.
That's like an always thing, right?
No,
Always accurate, always reliable.
It depends. It depends on the lender, and it depends on a number of things, but primarily on the lender. So not all lenders are the same. It depends on how thorough of a pre-qualification you're doing up front. It depends on how well and how carefully they've analyzed your situation to know all of the, what is there, upwards of 30 different elements that go into determining what your actual rate is. And even when that's done, and the lender says, this is a accurate rate today, it's today, right?
Yeah, then what?
So
Then
there's
what
all these
happens?
steps. There's all these steps in between a upfront quote and when you can actually lock the rate in. So an upfront quote, oftentimes we see it a lot. Rate quotes are very optimistic, and the reason is because the lenders know that there are all these steps. There's
So especially, and I'll stop you just for a
Yeah,
second.
yeah, go
So
ahead.
especially on a purchase transaction.
Yes.
So if you're looking at a purchase.
That's what I'm thinking of, yeah.
Yeah, so the pre-qualification, purchase process. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so you know, hi, Mr. Ello, I want a loan. Okay, and my FICO score is 800. What rates do you guys have? And okay, yeah, well, we're, you know, upper 2s, low 3s. You know, I'm not going to give you an exact number because I just don't have anything. And then they give you some things, and they give you enough to maybe complete a pre-qualification, and
Yep.
you have a credit report and a credit score, so you can get a little more accurate. But you haven't locked anything in. You don't have a subject property. You don't have a final loan amount. You don't have a closing date. So days of interest.
Right, yeah.
You just don't have any of that to kind of figure out what the actual final interest rate is going to be.
Or the closing costs.
And so the
you know.
important thing is realizing that it kind of gives you a ballpark, but you have to make sure that your lender is collecting all of your information up front to give you an accurate number then, but hopefully they're explaining to you how the process goes and how the rate may change by the time we go to lock it in.
I don't think they're going to spend much time on that.
No,
You
no.
know, it's just it's really quick.
It's an optimistic
They're
quote to
gonna
get you
this
excited,
rate
get
quote
you
out.
in.
Yep. Get you committed to work with them. Yeah, and it could change too by the time, you know, you're actually ready to lock and you have all those, you know, call them ingredients by then.
Yes, yeah. Well, the
And-
market's going to move,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And independent of all the different ingredients that actually come together on the actual property and the transaction. And guys, please make sure you read all online reviews. Find online reviews for the lender you're thinking about going with. If you can't find an online review, you might want to hesitate.
Yeah, you might want to reconsider. You know, if the internet it's huge and everybody's there.
Mhm.
Google, you know, there's so many different places that you can read reviews or endorsements about, you know, testimonials, whatever you want to call them. Definitely take that time. You know, read the reviews. If they don't have any recent reviews, that's probably a problem. But you know,
Could be.
just throwing that out there. But yeah, read the reviews for sure.
Yeah. So our 5th myth, and our last one we're going to talk about today, is that mortgage insurance automatically falls off once you have 20% equity in the property.
This is a big one. I think we
True or false?
Oh man, it's kind of true, kind of false, but we
Right.
run into this a lot. It's a great question that comes up, and I feel like it hits my desk usually once or twice a month.
Yeah.
You know, somebody's inquiring about it. Hey, what do I need to do? You know, I'd like to get the mortgage insurance off my loan. I think I've got 20% equity in my property now.
Mhm.
What do I need to do?
Mhm.
And that's, I think, part of it, why it's a myth is because it's really not automatically going to just fall off once you have 20% equity in the property.
Right. Right.
Because it's based on the original value. So it's, you know, if you are talking about a conventional loan and you purchased the home,
Yeah.
it's based on what the original value was when you purchased the
When you
home.
bought the home.
Yeah, or
Right.
the last time you refinanced the home.
That's how lenders are able to calculate it and remove it when it gets to 78%, right? So
Correct.
that's actually the line. So it's
Yep.
78% of the original purchase price.
Yeah.
And then
Or the value, whichever would be
Whichever-
lower.
whichever was lower.
Yeah,
Yep,
whichever is
exactly.
lower at
Yep.
that time.
Yep.
So good thing, just a way to remember that is.
And that's a
you know,
conventional loan, so that's
Yep.
different than an FHA loan. I totally interrupted your thought. Go ahead.
No,
Finish that.
that's okay. Yeah, and we'll get back to the FHA. So
Yeah.
on a conventional loan, let's say if it was, a good way to remember it is these days anyway, if you had a purchase and let's say you used an appraisal and the appraised value was 300,000 back at the time that you purchased the home,
Mhm.
and now the home is worth in the Phoenix market maybe 500,000.
Yeah.
Right. And so you're going
2 years
back,
ago.
and that was last September, 2020. It was,
Right. Right.
But you're going to go back in time, and you almost have to look at what was that value when I purchased the home,
Mhm.
and now, what's the value worth today? Unfortunately, you can't use that current value, and
Yeah.
you have to kind of go back in time and look at what that value was, the original value
Mhm.
when you purchased the home. The 300,000 is what that's based on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So another important point I think to make here is that it used to be, and a lot of people think maybe you still can, get your own appraisal done to substantiate where the value is and present that to the lender, and the lender will say, okay, and take the mortgage insurance off.
Yep.
And it's not the case. It's based purely on the purchase price or appraised value, whichever's lower.
Yep.
When you bought or refinanced last.
Yes.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
and then with the FHA, this is a kind of a big myth, but the FHA, unfortunately, the way it works with FHA is that it no longer is really able to be removed unless you've put 10% down or more
Right.
on the FHA loan, which a lot of people aren't going to put 10% down on an FHA loan.
Generally, we're 3.5%, 5%.
Yeah, so it's kind of a caveat, but yeah, the only way to really get mortgage insurance removed on an FHA loan is if you keep that loan for 11 years, again,
If you put 10% or more down.
if you put 10% or more down.
And if you have less than 10% down, then you either have to sell the home or refinance the home.
Yes.
Right.
Yep. Or you're pretty much stuck with the mortgage insurance for the life of the loan.
Yeah. A good point to make here is that using a refinance actually can be a good way to remove your mortgage insurance.
That's great. It's a great way.
Because now you get to use the current market appraised value.
Yeah.
So now you get to take advantage of that and get that mortgage insurance gone. It can be very expensive.
It's a great idea.
Yeah. And if you're refinancing, you're hopefully taking advantage of lower rates. So you're now saving money on the rest of the principal that you owe as well, and just
for sure.
really
Yeah.
kind of upping your savings over time. So
Definitely.
definitely worthwhile taking a look at.
That's great.
Guys, that wraps up our 5 favorite myths. We would love to hear from you guys. If you have any myths that you've heard that you're a little unsure of or not quite understanding, definitely comment down below, and we'll be very quick to answer that.
Subscribe and share.
Subscribe and share.
Please.
Sometimes I forget to say
Yeah,
that.
it's all
Yeah, we
good.
would absolutely appreciate it if you'd like and share the video. It helps us reach more people. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys again on the next episode.
We'll see you next time.
Take care.
Oh yeah, these
That
are
I-
applicable.
I think they're I love that.
Definitely.
Applicable. I can't even say it very well. That was awesome.
Applicable.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Jay and Brian Show. I'm Brian,
I'm Jay.
and today we are talking about. There's a good blooper right there. We've already got plenty.
All right.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Oh, I just hit the mic.